Welcome team, I'm that excited to bring Mark Nawaqanitawase. How did I go with that surname?
You sound like a Fijian.
Bulavanaka. Ciao ragazzi.
Hey, there it is. Multicultural you are.
Okay, I've just tried to speak Fijian and Italian because I have one of the greatest athletes, I believe, out of Fiji and Italy. And your journey, mate, in all seriousness, I have so much respect for your journey. You're 24 years old and you've already played for the Wallabies. You've played against the All Blacks. You've played on the biggest stage. You've been to the Olympics as a sevens player. You've made your NRL debut for the Sydney Roosters. You did all of that in 1 year, in 2024. That will be a year you will never forget.
Never, yeah.
To the listeners out there who may feel a connection here, I am privileged to work with you every day, and it was a privilege to be there on that day for the debut.
Appreciate it, likewise.
And I'll never forget your first try in NRL. Like that showcased an athletic ability that I want to dig deep where that come from. Mm-hmm. I also loved the crowd that day. You had a fan, you had a crew there. I want you to name drop a few of those guys.
Yeah.
But Mark, thanks so much. Could you take us, first of all, just to get to know you a little with the listeners, about your childhood, how you grew up? There's clearly a multi-sport background in there somewhere. Because if I could share, and I will in the edits, I'll make some shorts. I have seen you play basketball, which is next level. I've seen you play volleyball, I've seen you play soccer. I've seen you in the gym do crazy things. I will be seeking out the Roosters digital team to try to get some edits because, but there's clearly a childhood behind this that there'll be lessons there for listeners. A lot of my listeners are teachers, coaches, trainers, athletes as well, but there'll be lessons there. Can you take us through?
Yeah, of course. No, thanks again. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much.
As a coach, it's pretty cool, and to see you doing your own thing is pretty cool as well. So, well, I guess for me it all started, here in Sydney, Burwood, in the west. Obviously grew up. My mum and dad, and I have two siblings, and we lived, just in suburban Burwood. And I was very fortunate to have my family live in the same street. So I had my cousins across the road and my grandparents, a few houses up. For me as a child, sport was a massive, part of it. Just having the availability to, go across the street with my cousins. And even, we befriended some neighbours as well who had kids around the same age as us. We were playing all kinds of, different games around the streets. We just were very lucky to be able to, it's a bit different these days. Very, some parents are a bit safer and, you couldn't do things, I guess, the way we used to, which is pretty crazy to think. But we'd be playing rugby, we'd be playing basketball, cricket, hide and seek, 44 homes, all these types of games. Because that's, you'd come home after school and it's just the thing to do. I was very fortunate to, have an active childhood. And I guess, that was, I guess I feel personally that, that childhood and all those experiences have helped me get to where I am. Yeah, for sure. And I guess Rugby League has always been, I guess, prevalent, and so it's been a big part of my life. Obviously, because my dad, who's from Fiji, was lucky enough to be brought over by the Balmain Tigers back in the days. Yeah. So,
did you follow them?
I did. Yeah. Oh, by the time I was born, it was West Tigers. I grew up a West Tigers supporter, and obviously I played with the juniors, played for the Leichhardt Wanderers and Concord Birdwolves as well, who are associated with the Tigers. That's the first sport competitively that I started with, which was Rugby League, and then I guess as I got older, obviously dabbled in a few other sports. At school, we had to do a summer sport, so I like to play basketball a bit. athletics, that was around.
No doubt you were good at track and field.
Yeah, I
No
did all right, I
doubt.
guess. Yeah.
What was your event? High jump.
Yeah,
Gee,
high jump.
good guess.
Yeah, high jump. I was actually shot put. I did all right at shot put.
Power.
Yeah,
I can see
it
that.
helped.
Any teachers back then we can name drop that might be listening? School.
Mr. Andrews.
School?
Mr. Andrews. He was at St. Pat's at first. Now he's changed. Mr. Andrews was my first rugby coach.
Yeah.
He always backed me. In rugby and also athletics.
Yeah.
Mr. Calavassi. I think he's still there now. He's head of sport, I think there. He was my rugby coach, and Mr. Katrupi, he was my old basketball coach. And I actually stopped playing basketball from year 10 because I just wanted to just do rugby.
Yeah.
And he always was trying to get me to come back and play basketball, but
Can't see why.
he was always a good man to me. I've met a lot of wonderful people from the school. More importantly, I guess my mates who've come from there, who I'm still close with to this day. Just a very grateful and fun childhood and high school experience. So yeah.
Awesome. Mark, a lot of the listeners are teachers or trainers or coaches, or there are athletes as well that will listen, that want to follow in your footsteps.
Yeah.
But you just mentioned, when I asked some memorable people come to mind, you also mentioned someone backed you. Mm-hmm. So is there any lessons to those teachers out there? How did that, when you say backed you, how did that make you feel at that age? Like, there's teachers listening that have a big influence on a kid's life. Mm-hmm. I think you said something really key there.
Yeah, well, I guess, sometimes, like a lot of times there's kids there, who may have abilities or maybe are quite good at things, and sometimes they're a bit shy or things may not go their way. For example, I wasn't selected in, the highest representative honours at school. So I had a different pathway to, you would say, some other kids who made those, schoolboys, whether it's state or even national schoolboys teams, who were, cited from an early age. I guess I missed out on those things, but having people, who can see some sort of ability in kids, and then making sure they're supportive, to the point to keep them engaged in it. So, like, for example, I remember at one point I was out of rugby for a bit because I was just playing basketball, and I didn't really want to do rugby anymore, but. I still remember Mr. Calavassi, old teacher, convincing my mum, she was at my brother's parent-teacher interviews and convincing my mum to get me back to play rugby, which was pretty funny. So just as an athlete and as a student, getting that, the want from someone to, they might think I'm good. Yeah, exactly. Feeling valued, gives you a bit of confidence in your ability.
Do you remember when your mum come and talk to you after that parent-teacher night?
Yeah, no.
To ask you to, hey, I think you should play rugby?
Yeah, no, she mentioned it for sure. At the time, I was just mucking around with basketball, so no, she just obviously reminded me that he's Mr. Calavassi's, wants you to come play rugby again, and I was like, oh, okay. 2 or 3 weeks later, I'm back out there playing rugby, so it. It was enough to get me interested back in it again. And I guess that's with, things like that in terms of, having a supportive or someone who shows value in you and interest. It can do a lot for an athlete. Yeah. And that happened. That's, happened throughout my whole career. There's that saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Like sometimes, it can be a bit like unfairish, but like, for me, I've been very lucky because, it has worked out for me sometimes that the right people that I know have, supported me and given me the backing to give me an opportunity. Yeah. And then, I guess for a person like me, when you get an opportunity like that, you got to take it. So yeah.
Well, there's a bit of a saying in coaching.
Yeah.
It's not how much you know, it's how much you care.
Yeah.
So for the teacher that obviously had a lot of knowledge,
Yeah.
but all he did was show that he cared.
Yes.
And encourage you and just let that grow. And then I bet you when you ran out and you were singing the national anthem on the world stage, he was probably in his lounge room one of the proudest teachers.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's really cool. That I love that you remember all that stuff. Let's jump into like starting to get elite now. When did you think, hey, I'm going all the way?
Yeah, look, you know, I've always wanted to play footy professionally. I guess during high school, my high school was a union school, so that's when I was sticking with union. Plus, at the time, and actually still to this day, my mum hates league, which is you're gonna laugh at it. No, she's always supportive of me, but she hates league, so I could never, go to league or do like a Harold Matts or SG Borst, anything like that, because she hated it. She's found it very aggressive and physical, which it is. But so that's why I was kind of stuck with union. During year 11, year 12, I was like, okay, this is something I want to do, after school. But I just didn't have a path. I didn't know how I was going to do it. Because at the time you have to make, you can make schoolboys and get into schoolboys, and a club would pick you up through schoolboys. But again, I didn't make anything. Yeah, so this is where, one of my biggest influences in my life, John Manenti, his name is, right?
Right.
You might have heard, he's actually coaching now in America, but John Manenti, his son Harry, is a good mate of mine. Yeah. His son, another son, is Ben Manenti, who plays for the Sixers in the cricket in the T20.
Yeah, right.
The Big Bash show.
You're welcome on, Ben.
Yeah.
Let's get him on the show.
We could sort it out. He, mate, I was going to move away to New Zealand to go to do another year of school.
Yeah.
And try, make my way and have an opportunity there through another mate, whose dad, saw my ability and didn't want me to waste it. Yeah. So he offered for me to come live with them in New Zealand and go to school and try to, do rugby over there. But then it was my good mate Harry, his dad, found out that, that I was going to do that, who said, no, I want you to stay here, play club footy for Eastwood. It's a shoot shield team, and which he was affiliated with. Yeah. And then at the time, he was one of the sevens coaches for Australia. Right. And he, I guess he put in a good word for me with the Waratahs Academy, to try and get me a trial with the under 19s at the time. Yeah. And I was fortunate enough. They said, we'll give him a 2-month trial. For the academy.
Do you know what's fascinating that you haven't even mentioned? In and amongst that, you were also playing soccer.
Yeah.
At an elite level.
Yeah.
Like the Italian side.
Yeah.
That's the bit that's still blowing my mind. In and amongst all that, you're wanting to play rugby.
Yeah.
You're playing basketball. You were playing soccer.
Yeah.
Who for again? Because that was very...
Oh, back in those days, I had a little stint in Apia when I was younger.
Like and these teams were at that level, at that junior level. Like you're playing soccer, basketball, rugby.
Yeah.
You've gone to a trial for 2 months with the Waratahs. When did you think, I am going to make this sport? You're only 24 now, so... It must have only been a few years ago.
Yeah, 6 years ago now. Yeah. 6 years.
And were you always so athletic? Were you always, or this was a work hard? Like, was it?
I've been
you're
fortunate.
very good in the gym. Yeah. You're very good. You're obviously fortunate with genetics.
Yes. Yeah.
But did you you must have turned, I am going to go hard here because I've seen some of your stuff in the gym. It's proper world class. I don't want to give any secrets away. Paddy Lane might not like giving away all your numbers, but if we had set up a force platform here or measure, who's got the biggest jump, it's like a gym, right?
Yeah.
What do you love about the gym, or is there any secret little tips? What's your favourite lift? Let's just go there.
Okay. Look, to be honest, I didn't even start gymming till I joined the academy at school. I had no gym, I didn't go to gym or anything. It wasn't till I got into professionally that I actually touched a weight.
Right.
Or even
you got any strength coaches that have helped you along the journey that you want to do a quick shout out to?
Yeah, Corey Bocking. He's at Panthers at the moment.
Yeah.
Mate, he was at the Tars for Mate, he made me realise what I could do with my body.
Cool.
In the gym and how you could change it, especially for professional sport.
Yeah.
If I'm being honest, my early years professionally, gym wasn't a big thing for me. I kind of
because you just did it naturally.
I relied on my talent quite a bit, but that's why there's lessons to be learnt for kids. You need to work hard in both, and the Corey Bocking was a big part of it.
What's your best lift in the gym?
Ever? I'd probably say my bench press.
That's your best.
I've got it.
That's your favourite lift, is it?
Yeah.
That's got nothing to do with your jumping. I thought you were going to give me some sort of secret to your aerial skills. All these kids that want to jump like you, they want to be like Mike. I want to be like Mark. What do they?
What I do, just honestly run around the streets. That's what it is.
Let kids play.
I remember jumping over fences. That's the way you want to do it.
Jumping over fences.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a game called 44 Houses. What
44
is that?
homes.
44 homes. What is that?
Well, it's like.
You jump 44 fences?
No, I wish, but there was there's not a flag. Capture the flag, but no, it's not capture the flag. There's one spot, and it's called the base. Yeah. And someone who has to tag everyone starts counting from there, while everyone else goes and hides.
Right.
And when the game starts, everyone who's hiding has to reach the base without getting tagged.
There's the secret, everyone. It's not power cleans, it's not your vertical jumps, it's not your squats. I heard you squat over 200 kilos. It's not your squat. It's 44 homes on the streets for kids.
Yeah.
Right, take me. Okay, let's go to the big stage now. Your first time walking out to play for the Wallabies. Where was it at?
It's in Florence, Italy.
Stop it! He's half Italian and he gets to make his Wallabies debut in Italy.
Yeah. It was.
What did that feel like?
Yeah, it was pretty cool, pretty special. It was a decent crowd for an Italian crowd, maybe like 40,000. Screaming Italians. It was pretty cool to have my family come over. My nonno, the one who's Italian in our family, he's up there, singing both anthems. But then, of course, playing for the Wallabies itself was pretty special. It was, we didn't get the win, but I guess, it's a moment for me that I will never forget. It's pretty cool.
Facing up against the Haka, All Blacks. For the first time, what was that like?
Down in Melbourne. For me, it's one of the ones I've been waiting for. Growing up watching it, my whole life, and then to actually be the one standing, in front of some of those players now that I've played against quite a few times, but even some of those guys that I watched, when I was only a few years ago, it's pretty surreal, because mate, that haka is one of those things, every rugby person knows and just loves to be a part of. It's pretty special.
The Olympic Games, did you do the opening ceremony?
Unfortunately, I didn't.
What?
Yeah, I know.
You didn't?
That was the one thing unfortunately we were competing the next day, so we had to rest. But definitely I seen all the athletes walking through our village to go to the actual ceremony. You know, they're all dressed up in their traditional, outfits from their country. So it was pretty damn special to see, the different countries and traditions.
I want to tell you how much I respect the fact you could be anywhere in the world playing rugby. You could be on the ski slopes in Japan. You could be you could be earning a monster, but you decided, I'm going to have a crack at the toughest game in the world. For a tough pre-season. You knocked back playing for Fiji because you wanted to do a pre-season.
Targeted conditioning.
What made you want to do this transition to rugby league? And what do you see is possible? If you could aim really high right now and have no fear of anyone's judgment and just aim high, what is it? What is possible for you in this game? And you're only 24, I'm sure you're going to get headhunted by one of these Japanese or French teams again one day.
I don't know.
But I'd love to see you stay in rugby league. What do you see is possible?
Mate, a premiership. I definitely see that as a possibility. Mate, I don't want to put a limit on myself. I reckon I can, if I put my mind to things, and mate, with the quality coaches like yourself and Trent and Justo and the whole crew we have here, individually, I think I could do a lot of things. One of those things is I'd love to win a premiership. That'd be pretty damn cool. Obviously, Origin, it's one of the biggest parts of the game. I'd love to do it all if I could.
You've done it all so far, so there's no reason why you should. I love that you don't put limits on yourself. I'd like to stick on that just for a little bit longer on any influences in you, in those Wallabies camps, or coaches or players or captains or senior players. Is there any lessons there that we could share? Because again, I could chat to you all day, but I'm just thinking about some real lessons that would help the type of listeners I have. Or any name drops you could throw, but then throw in why.
Oh gosh.
Captains. Who's your best captain?
Michael Hooper.
And why?
The thing I loved about Michael, or Hoops, whatever you want to call it.
Hoops, you're welcome on the show.
Mate, he had this aura about him, and everyone knew he had this aura about him. But he was just a normal bloke. Would have a laugh, and then when it comes to on the field, he could switch it on. I loved how he never had an ego, because it's Michael Hooper, one of the best to ever do it for the Wallabies. Every time he didn't have to say much. He never had to say a lot on the field, but when he spoke, everyone listened, and it was just pretty cool, to be a part of, and it just made you want to help, whatever he said, you'd want to do it, and not let him down, kind of thing, because you knew he was going to do the same for you.
That's good. So if you could share with us, if you were to build the ultimate teammate, what makes a good teammate?
What makes a good teammate? A good personality. And personality, no ego. No ego, but can be confident in themselves. Will care for you on and off the field. Athletic. Well, that will help.
Good at their job.
Good at their job will help. Someone you want to play with. That could be physically, or if they're mentally smart at the game. What else? There's so many different qualities. Just a good human.
Okay.
Yeah.
Righto. Let's finish with who's your best teammate you've ever had. Let's name drop it.
You're going to make some people angry here.
just okay. Throw out 3. 2 have to be. No, give me 2 Rugby Union, 2 Rugby League.
Mates.
Teammates.
Teammates.
And what do you love about it?
Okay. I'll go teammates in terms of I'll have to say for Union, Charlie Gamble, because he's he's a good mate of mine, and I love the way he plays. And we've come up together, so I'm pretty close with him. And the other person, I think he's a great teammate. I'd say Angus Bell. I've mentioned this, a few times everywhere else, but Angus Bell, the prop, he's a great teammate to have on your team. He's just a big brute force that I love to watch. I love to play with, because he's gonna do a job. He's gonna run over everyone he can. When you need to as well. If the team's stuck in the back, you need someone to carry it. Mate, he's the one to do it. And he's there making tackles. He's just there. He's going to do a job for you. So he's a good teammate to have. Yeah.
Rugby League, hit me with 2. Hey, don't want to offend the rest of the team.
Yeah, mate, I love all you boys.
I just want 2.
I think one of our favourites, Daniel Tupou.
Yeah.
Mate, the GOAT. Just the person he's the ultimate teammate. Yeah. If you could ask me again, what's the ultimate teammate? What's the qualities? It's Daniel Tupou. Yeah. Just the person he is off the field. The humble, caring gentleman that he is, and then to the on-field where he's 110%. Does his job well. Consistent
for a long time.
Yeah, and powerfully, which is a big word for us. Make powerful carries, non-stop. He's been a big impact for me.
Contest, you and him in the air. We should set that up for a little video short.
No, I don't.
No, let him have it.
Yeah, let him have it. He's the king, man. Yeah.
Righto. Who else? Last one. We finished with this.
Great teammate.
There's too many.
There's a lot. Angus, Gussie's good to have. Teddy, of course. I love my boy Siwa Wong, Spencer. Man, there's too many.
Victor
Bradley, mate. There's the whole team.
Everyone loves everyone.
Yeah.
Mate, thanks so much. I love chatting to you. There's little lessons there. Mm-hmm. One of the biggest ones is just let kids play.
Yeah.
One of the other ones was that teacher that backed you.
Yeah.
At a time when, it was very influential in your life. Mm-hmm. Then there's leaders that you've mentioned that influence you, and then there's some of those moments when, sorry, I didn't go to the debut. Just tell me the feeling when you were in the air, you scored, you looked over to that corner, that crowd. Give me a couple of names that were in that crowd, and how did that feel? Was that your first touch of the ball?
Maybe not second, but we'll go with
we'll go with first touch on a rugby league field.
Yeah.
You were in the air, you're scoring a try against South Sydney. How did that feel? And shout out to a couple of those guys in the corner.
Yeah, obviously my mum, Chris Georges, one of my best mates from school. Or there was actually quite a few of my best mates from school, but Chris Georges, because he's Roosters through and through. Yeah. Who else?
Was his dad in that crew there?
Yeah, John Georges. He was in there. They all had the shirts on. But it was a very special. It was a very exciting moment. Obviously, it's I say this a lot, it's one of the big reasons why I wanted to come over, because I love the contest in the air. Yeah. And to be able to do that, on the stage as one of the first things to do, it was a really feel-good moment to tick it off, you know what I mean? Just the first one, and it's literally what we talked about. So it's, Trent and I, we talked about in terms of this transition, and then being able to show it and do it. Yeah, it's
well done, mate.
Pretty cool, man.
More things